Let's get into a really cool topic, though, that Big Husk brought up that I think is kind of... it's probably the first like negative thing that I've said about Spotify in a while. So I came across this on Twitter just organically, but then Big Husk pointed it out and was asking about it for tonight's chat. So basically, Spotify will now give your music an algorithmic boost in exchange for a lowered promotional recording royalty rate. And let's open this up and just to like, you know, make sure we're, I don't know this site, The Fader. I'm just going to assume that they're telling the truth on this and that they're a reputable place. Spotify announced a new feature for artists seeking to increase exposure. In a press release issued for today, November 2nd, the release today that I'm recording this, the digital streaming platform unveiled a new function that will allow creators at all levels to boost their visibility through Spotify's algorithmic music selector on radio and autoplay functions. Artists and labels can identify music that's a priority for them, and our system will add that signal to the algorithm that determines personalized listening sessions. Labels or rights holders agree to be paid a promotional recording royalty rate for streams in personalized listening sessions where we provided this service. So if you're not following along with that, this basically means that Spotify is going to allow people to opt out or to opt in to receive less money for an increased chance of visibility, which is only, in my opinion, one step away from telling you, hey, if you give us money, we will show people your music, which I'm surprisingly against. I mean, like, I'm all big in advertisement and paying for visibility, right? I mean, that's, at the end of the day, attention has value. So I have no problem paying like Facebook or Google or whoever to get the eyeballs. But the problem is that I feel like Spotify has a major conflict of interest in this because they're receiving the money and paying out money to the content holders. And they're letting people receive less money to get exposure, which seems like a massive conflict of interest and is literally one step away from them saying, hey, maybe if you just give us like $500, you can get on Discover Weekly. Or maybe labels can only get on Discover Weekly. So, I don't know. I think it's super sketchy, and I don't like it. And I feel like it's kind of, I don't want to say that slippery slope effect, because that comes up in politics all the time. If we let this happen, then all of a sudden Spotify is going to be saying, okay, well now Discover Weekly and Release Radar are part of this. Right now they're saying it's just for personalized listening sessions. And they even have a clarification. It's only for radio and autoplay. It will not include Discover Weekly and probably not include Release Radar. But who's to say that it won't happen at another point? And I'm not trying to do the whole slippery slope argument that's in politics all the time. But personally, I'm a little afraid that this is a slippery slope. You know, it's kind of sketchy. I don't like it. If they were willing to just straight up charge for eyeballs, like their whole, you know, when you log into Spotify and a big pop-up comes and says, hey, there's new albums out, we think you'll like it. I'd rather have them charge for that than have them like opt to pay less to have them give you an increased chance to algorithmic playlists, because the logical next step is no one's going to get in these algorithmic playlists because so many people are going to be opting out that all of a sudden the default streaming rate for everyone is going to go down. And it's already pretty damn low. Anyway, so that's my rant on the subject. I'd love to hear what you think. Merc Raps, I'm just trying to get organic views, so I might have to try it. And yeah, I'd try it too. Like, if they came out with that, yeah, I'd probably do it too, unless there was a mass protest to do it. Because the thing is, if you don't do it, and everyone else does it, you're just going to be left behind, right? So it sounds like there's some unions fighting back, or at least a company called the Union. No, the Union of Musicians and Allied Workers. 4,000 independent artists presented. Actually, this is a cool thing I'll pull up. Just last week, 4,000 independent artists and the Union of Musicians and Allied Workers presented a new campaign demanding Spotify pay at least 1 cent per stream. And, you know, they mentioned we continue to be underpaid, misled, and otherwise exploited by the company. And I think that's fair. I mean, I've mentioned why Spotify can't pay more because if they start charging more for their service, they're going to go out of business. At the same time, I mentioned the only way that I think they can pay more is because is if some like legislation comes into play, and I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But obviously I'd like it to. I mean, I'd like to make more money for my music too. Even if it doubled, that would be very nice, and I think everyone would agree. I think it's important for all of us as artists to, there's two things you can do when something like this comes out: either fight as hard as you can against it and kind of, unionize, so to speak, or if it goes through, essentially opt in or die kind of thing, right? If something changes and you have no control over it because it already went through, it's kind of just roll with the punches and make the best of it. But it hasn't happened yet, so hopefully people can make some noise.